Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Journey, known as your personal confidant. Today we're going to talk about Family and Fiancé episode of Khaneisha and LaBarron. Khaneisha and LaBarron's relationship started off as personal trainer and client relationship that led to friendship, and then it turned into a relationship. So within 3 years of them dating, they decided to move in together and he proposed. So now they're in the episode of Family and Fiancé where they're inviting their families and hoping to get their families' blessing. However, both sides of the families have some concerns. So the couple sat down with Tracy for their first session together with her. And we quickly learned that Khaneisha was not quite transparent with her parents that they were formally dating. Of course, they know that they're engaged by now. However, they just thought that they were friends. She would bring him around and they're thinking like, oh, okay, that's her friend. But they weren't quite sure when it really transitioned into a serious relationship, I guess, until they were engaged. And so the parents are kind of like, okay, we don't really know him. Who is LaBarron? You know, we've seen him around and he's came around and he was introduced very casually, but who is this man? That's with our daughter. Like, we literally don't know anything about him. And the sister is quite beside herself because Khaneisha has not really sat down with them and have told them anything of what's going on in her personal life. However, the little sister is living with Khaneisha and LaBarron, and clearly she's tipping off the parents and the sister of what's really going on, at least from her perspective. So Khaneisha's family arrived, her mother, Claudia, and her sister, Kalia, and her father, Rio. So the father's main concern is, are you able to provide for our daughter? I want to make sure you're financially secured enough to provide for our daughter. And the mother is just kind of like, okay, the mother and sister's like, well, he's a secret. We don't really know much about him. And do you really love him? Something is going on. We're not quite sure that he may be the man for you. Yeah, you're with him, but do you truly love him? On LaBarron's family side, we have the mother, Rhonda. Rhonda is really concerned with, are you going to accept my son and treat him well? And the best friend, Joshua, is kind of concerned about what happens when he takes the lead. Are you going to allow him to take the lead and be head of household? And the cousin Kashida is concerned about bringing the families together and actually blending the families. Can that actually happen? Will they be accepting of all the families together? Is it going to work? So as the couple session unfolds with Tracy, we understand that there are some conflicts. So there are some communication issues, and also, can Khaneisha allow LaBarron to take charge and actually lead and let him be the man? And I can understand that. I believe Khaneisha is in her mid-30s. As an established woman, it's going to take some time to acclimate to a man coming in and taking over and telling you what to do, how to do it, how to spend. And now we have to talk about the budget, the household priorities. It's a lot when you're used to doing that on your own for so long. So it's going to really take some time to allow a man. And then, you know, if they really talk about it, he should really understand that and be patient with her. As it turns out, LaBarron mother raised him as a single mother, and so he's used to her occupying the space of mother and father. So she, I guess, was probably stern and very assertive, and she looked like she ran a pretty tight household. And so he is actually taking the lead as he saw her did, and it's like, it's probably not quite working for them. Well, clearly it's not quite working for them. He's a little bit too harsh. I guess he's taken on an alpha male, and he's a little too stern in his communication. So Tracy assigned both of them a task. Khaneisha's task is unlock the truth, and LaBarron's task is, what do you want to know? So they're going to get with each other's families, and they're going to ask questions to kind of get to know each other more. So LaBarron's family asks Khaneisha, why did you keep him a secret from your family? And Khaneisha said that she grew up basically in a very traditional family, very religious, and they did not really talk openly about relationships or their private lives as outside of church and family. And so they were not really allowed to date, and she never felt that she can have those conversations with her parents. Therefore, when she got into the relationship with LaBarron, she just felt like, okay, you know, she brought him around, but just kind of casually said that they were dating, but didn't really make it seem like it was anything serious. So therefore, the family just thought that he was kept a secret, but in actuality, she didn't feel comfortable having that conversation with her family because that's not their family dynamic. And I can completely understand that because I grew up in that family dynamic. They act as if like we don't have feelings, we're not gonna have thoughts about boys, like as if it's never going to come. So all we did was just church and school, and then we're like, okay, I guess we can't have any conversations about how I'm feeling as a teenager with my hormones going wild, but you know what? That's a different story. But I can't understand that, again, coming from that family dynamic, and then they want to look at you like, oh my God, why, you can't talk to us? Well, hello? We didn't grow up like that. We grew up in the Twilight Zone. Like nothing is really going on. And we're like in this box, in this bubble that, you know, it's everything else is happening outside the bubble. But yet your kids are like different, you know, like we coming from like a different stratosphere. But anyways, that's how delusional parents can be sometimes. And another question that Khaneisha was asked by LaBarron side of the family, if you could change something about him, what would it be? And she said that it would be his quick temper. He is quick to anger, and she just can't really deal with the way he speaks to her. And I'm sure his tone, because he kind of got crunk a little bit. And I'm like, Barron, you have that alpha that's laying dormant inside of you, but hold on now. Yeah, she's not gonna go for that. She's an older established woman, and that's not really gonna fly. But then she seems like she's kind of like she doesn't like dealing with things. She doesn't like a lot of chaos and conflict, so she just kind of shuts down. So we'll see how it unravels. So Khaneisha's side of the family asks LaBarron, do you feel that we don't care for you, and why? And he said, no, I don't. Or it seems like you guys did not really know about me. And then so the parents explained like they didn't know. They just thought that they were friends, and the next thing they know, they were getting engaged. So that was that. The family also asks, how do you handle conflict? And LaBarron said that he handles it immediately. And however, he's working on his delivery and working on how he communicates conflict and disagreements and communicating with Khaneisha. Khaneisha's parents also asked LaBarron, what is your 3 to 5 year plan? LaBarron said that he does not have a plan. How about that? The audacity to tell your fiance's parents that you do not have a plan? Well, how do you think they're going to feel? So sure enough, he did say that. And it seems like he was not ashamed to say it either. And I'm like, wow, look at this taking place. And is this okay? Like, yes, the parents should be concerned. So the mom is looking like, well, why are you getting married? Well, if you don't have a plan to be financially secured, how are you going to secure a wife and you're trying to get married? Well, you probably should be working on your plan first and securing yourself before you think about marrying somebody's daughter, which I completely wholeheartedly agree. Where are you going, sir? Khaneisha's mother proceeded to ask, if Khaneisha decided to have a prenup, how would you feel about it? So LaBarron diverted the question back to them. Well, have y'all spoken about it? All right. So it's like, So that they were just like, no. So that was that. And now the dinner scene. Ding dong. I actually missed the part where they actually set the families down and they asked each individual to voice their concern. And so Khaneisha's mother actually said that she does not feel that Khaneisha has feelings for LaBarron like she has feelings for her dog. Like she feels that she shows her dog more affection than she shows LaBarron. And LaBarron's mother was 38 hot. How dare you compare a dog to our son? Are you high? And you know what? As a mother, I can completely understand that. But you know what? To Khaneisha's mother's point, I mean, I guess they have not really seen them interact as a couple like that. And then so she just kind of wondered, like, I really see you showing the little doggy more affection than you do LaBarron. So what's going on? You know, it was a very legitimate question, but I can also understand how that may translate in a way that's, you know, very uncomfortable. You know, it was very insensitive of her to compare her love for LaBarron, her fiance, to the love that she has for her dog. So at the dinner scene, LaBarron addressed Khaneisha that he did not know that their parents did not know of their relationship and how serious they were. And Khaneisha said that, well, we don't really talk about that as a family. That's never really came up. Like, you know, they knew of you, but I guess they didn't know how serious the relationship was. You know, I told them. And Khaneisha's family was like, yeah, we know you were dating him, but you did not tell us that it had actually transitioned into something that was so serious that, you know, like you guys would be engaged now. Like, we missed that whole part of your relationship. All we thought was like, okay, you're bringing your friend around and you guys are friendly and maybe even dating, but we did not know it was like marriage serious. So there goes LaBarron's mother saying that she did not like the comparison of her son to a dog. Like, she could not get past that. And Khaneisha's sister is saying, like, you know what, you're going to have to get a prenup. You're going to have to think about it because there are some land that we have or whatever investments that they have in the family. And I just don't want that to be compromised because you decided to get married to a man that does not have any plans, that's not even financially stable. How about that? I mean, I can understand that she does have a valid point. Like, while you're right here with your, you know, man that's not financially secure, you need to make sure that you handle business right here, ma'am, because I'm not going to be without because you decided not to do right by us. Okay? You decided not to secure your finances. So day 2 of their session with Tracy, Tracy asked them, how did it go yesterday? And they said pretty well. And she's like, oh, well, not that well, you know. And so she was saying that her parents had concerns that they did not know about the relationship or how serious the relationship was. And Khaneisha was just kind of like, well, I told them, I don't understand what it is. Now that we're engaged, you're like, they don't really know who LaBarron is. And Tracy was like, yeah, you know, we can really understand that because a lot of times, you know, family and friends see a lot of things that we do not see when we're actually in the relationship. So actually their feedback is very important. So Tracy said that it seems that there's some resistance with the parents' concern from both sides. And it's actually her responsibility to communicate and manage their couplehood with their families. Or Tracy gave Lakeisha a task to speak with her parents, with her family, one-on-one. So in the next scene, Lakeisha met with her parents, with her side of the family, and she basically explained that maybe she should have been more transparent with her relationship, and the reason that she wasn't is because they grew up very conservative, and that marriage was, or dating was only for marriage, and they didn't have that kind of family dynamic to have open dialogues about relationships and dating. Khaneisha said that out of respect for her mother, for her parents, that she actually minimized the reality of her relationship. And I can completely understand that. If we grew up like very conservative and we don't really talk about relationships and we all know that we date to get married, then I can't really discuss the dynamics of my personal relationships because that's not how we roll. That's not what we talk about. And I know that for a fact because in my family, you only bring a guy home that you are going to marry. If you're not going to marry him, nobody wants to know about him. So the minute you bring him home, whether he already proposed or not, that's basically you telling the family that this is going to be my husband. So they're waiting for a date and they're waiting for a marriage to follow up very soon. And so, yeah, they don't play those games, those dating games. Well, let me just see, you know, let me just kind of date out here to see what I like, what I don't like. Let me have a real dating experience. And therefore, I did not even know how to properly date. I was dating to get married. I was not dating to get to know someone and to actually see if we have things in common where we can that can actually lead into a marriage, to really nurture a healthy relationship. I'm like, I'm out here looking to get married. Do you want to get married or not? Because I can't be out here just dating, because that's not what I do. That's not what we do. That's not what's acceptable in my culture. And so it just put this false illusion around what marriage really is, or what, relationships really take in order to nurture and groom them to that marriage point. So let's not even talk about vetting properly, because that was not even a thought in my mind. You trying to be my husband or not? So the parents were pretty receptive with Khaneisha being honest about why she was not transparent with her relationship, and her mother continued to ask her, well, are you being verbally abused? Basically was what my mother was asking. And I can see why the mother would feel that way, but it seems like the little sister that lives with them, it's kind of like, going back and telling the parents that there are some things that may be questioned about LaBarron. And when you're from the outside looking in, of course, you're able, you're going to judge the matter and maybe probably take some things out of context. But I can see why they may have that concern with LaBarron, because he looks like he gets a little tight with his demeanor when he's addressing things. Khaneisha was just completely beside herself. She was offended. How dare you ask me this question? You don't even know him. Have you even taken a chance to get to know him? So how could you make such salacious statement? And the mother was just kind of like, well, I'm just concerned. I have the right to ask you that question if I'm concerned. And Khaneisha was like, well, you don't even know him. How could you even be concerned? And first of all, where did you even get that from? A valid point. If you don't know him, where did you get it from? So she kind of like just shut down. Clearly she's a shutdowner. Like, she does not like to deal with conflict. She does not like anything that seems disorderly or that's chaos. She just does not do well in that. She likes a very structured environment, and for us to talk it out, any loud talking or getting outside of your character is just way too much for her. Like, she needs time. Like, you need to fall back, pause, and come back, in a very respectful, calm manner. I get it. So Khaneisha and her mother had a one-on-one talk, and the mother admitted that, we do have some communication issues in our family. And the mother told her that it's not that she does not know LaBarron, she just kind of wanted something more for her. That, I guess, a man that was more established. And from a mother's perspective, quite, she's... all mother wants their daughter to make sure that their daughter meet a man that can lead, that can take care of them, that's gonna love them, and that is financially stable. We get that. Khaneisha was like, well, maybe you should get to know him a little bit more before judging him. And they agreed on that. And so, they had a hoorah moment. Okay, great. And so the next scene was Khaneisha's mother meeting with LaBarron. And she apologized and said that, I'm sorry for making certain statements, and I would like a relationship with you. I would like to get to know you, and I love you. They hugged, and that was a great moment. That was a little cute scene. I like that the mother was receptive to Khaneisha's concern, although she still may not agree that that's the right man for her daughter. But she does respect her daughter's choice, and therefore she's going to be respectful. And that's very important, because at the end of the day, Mom, you don't get to control anything. You can voice your opinion, but you need to be respectful, and you need to keep things in order and keep yourself chaste. And they think that they could just, come to you and just kind of pop off the mouth, and you're just supposed to lay down and take it. No, ma'am, not here. If you want a relationship with us and you want our relationship to be good, what you're going to do is you're going to get yourself all the way together before you come to me with all that. So in the blessing ceremony, everybody gave their blessing except for the mother. From Khaneisha's side, her mother was like, well, you know what? I just wanted to make sure that my daughter was in a genuine loving relationship, and I can see that her love is sincere for LaBarron, and she gave her blessing. But LaBarron mom was like, no, first of all, I can't get past the fact that you compared my son to a dog. That he was even compared to a dog, she's beside herself. And two, well, you don't think that my son is good enough, so I don't feel comfortable him being your family. Will you really accept him, or would you look down on him? And then she also recognized that her son needed some time to really build and get himself in a better financial situation before he looked into becoming somebody's husband. So that's great. And so she basically said, you do not have my blessing, because I don't know how y'all gonna be treating my son over there. And the way she looks like she's set up, honey, you don't want to cross her, okay? Because she looked like she's from the, I'm gonna reserve my thoughts, but she looks like she does not play that. She has no problem, jumping over there and regulating stuff. So she was like, no, y'all don't have my blessing. My son is not going to go over there. Y'all don't even see him. So y'all are not going to mistreat him. Not on my watch, honey. So in the follow-up of the show, they said that Khaneisha and LaBarron are communicating better. And she's actually communicating better with her family and showing LaBarron more affection. So that's great. I thought that was a really, really great episode. My takeaway from this episode is that when you're in a relationship with someone, it's not just all about you. You do have people that love you and that want to see you happy and wants the best for you. And another thing that's extremely important is just having open, honest dialogue with your children. You want to talk to them about relationships. You want to talk to them about dating, about men, about women, about choosing a partner. If you don't have that open communication and create that safe space for your children, they're going to learn it anyways. From friends, social media, like movies, wherever, books. So you might as well get ahead of it. I think it's just important, period, to have these dialogues, these honest conversations with your parents. Like, I had to learn to get comfortable to have these type of communications with my parents, especially my mom. Right now we have a really, really good relationship, but it took years to work through that, and they have this thing where, I don't know, I'm like, are you guys in a twilight zone? Like, I'm a whole woman out here. So what did you think was gonna happen? And it's just kind of like they try to protect us, but in actuality, they're hurting us more by not being honest. I find out that she's made some mistakes, and I'm thinking like, well, if you were really honest with me, maybe I wouldn't have to make the mistakes that I made in my dating and relationship journey. But right now we can have those open communications, and sometimes it's like very uncomfortable. But you know what? Those uncomfortable conversations is where we need to, just push through. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Please comment, like, and subscribe.